Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabanson, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a pretty interesting update for you guys. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. So, as you're all aware, we've been following this Shannon Sharpe story very, very closely. The last time we touched on this topic was when we went over the new report that revealed that there was a second accuser. We read from the Daily Mail and from Marca.com, and her name, this second person, her name is Michelle Evans, and she had originally filed a lawsuit back in 2023. And in the article, it just essentially alleged that her and Shannon Sharpe had a relationship that dated back all the way to 2010, and we covered that. Everyone reacted to that. Then we did another show where we were reacting to some comments that Mace had to make, where he essentially said, look, you know, why didn't Stephen A. Smith come to the defense of Shannon Sharpe the way that he did for Jay-Z? When Jay-Z's, the initial Jay-Z allegations came out, Stephen A. Smith went on the Stephen A. Smith show and he defended Jay-Z vehemently. He said, you know, this is not the Jay-Z that I know. Jay-Z would never do something like it's something. I'm just essentially paraphrasing, but nevertheless, he defended it. So he was saying, look, you defended Jay-Z, you weren't there. But in the case of Shannon Sharpe, you didn't defend him and you weren't there as well. So why the discrepancy? We did a show about that, and I gave my reasons why I thought Stephen A. Smith came to the defense of Jay-Z over Shannon Sharpe. And I said it had to do with his relationship with him, given the fact that he's known him for a long time, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And maybe he didn't know Shannon Sharpe that closely for all that time. So I also said that Stephen A. Smith doesn't owe Shannon Sharpe like a message of support. He doesn't have to, right? He doesn't necessarily have to. But nevertheless, Stephen A. Smith decided to touch on this issue yesterday with a taping from his show on the Stephen A. Smith show. And he essentially addressed the bombshell news of Shannon Sharpe, where he himself stated on his X/Twitter that he will be stepping away from his duties from ESPN to be with his family and fight this case that he's currently embattled with. He spoke about that. And then Stephen A. Smith, as he was talking about it, he then actually came to the defense of Shannon Sharpe, which surprised a lot of people, and I'm sure made some people happy that were essentially looking for Stephen A. Smith to come to the defense of Shannon Sharpe. But before we even get into his comments, today's video is brought to you by our sponsor, Game Time. One of the things I love the most is making unforgettable memories with family and friends. And one of the things I hate the most is overpaying for tickets only to find out that there was a better deal out there. That's one of the reasons I started using Game Time. Game Time is the easy go-to app for last-minute tickets to sports, concert, and theater events across 60+ states in the US and Canada. Game Time saves me time, money, and stress by curating only the best deals, so I'm not wasting a whole bunch of time scrolling through overpriced tickets. Game Time Picks is my favorite tool. It highlights the best value seats instantly. No more guesswork, no more wasting time. For example, I am super excited about this Game 2 matchup between the Los Angeles Clippers and the Denver Nuggets. Here's what I like to do. I turn on all-in pricing so I know exactly what I'm paying for upfront. I check Game Time Picks to find out the most valuable deals. And finally, I pick the ticket I want. I choose between the cheapest deal, the great deal, or the amazing deal. Once you select the ticket you want, you can use their panoramic seat view to ensure you know exactly what you're getting before you buy. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Again, create an account and use redeem code CLNS for $20 off. And remember, whenever you support this sponsor, you're supporting this channel. Thank you. So what we want to do now is want to play exactly what Stephen A. Smith had to say about Shannon Sharpe stepping away from ESPN, and then we're going to come back and give you guys our thoughts. Take a listen to Stephen A. Smith here.
When I was on the air just a few days ago, a lot of people were looking for me to say something. I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to speak to one's innocence or one's guilt about something I have absolutely positively no knowledge of whatsoever. Do I believe that Shannon Sharpe is guilty of what he has been accused of? Absolutely not. That is my personal opinion. The brother that I've come to know, I don't believe would assault or rape anybody. And I'm going to state that emphatically. But just as emphatically, I'm going to remind everybody it is my opinion because of what I feel about him. Not in any way implying that I know a damn thing beyond that, because I don't know. I've seen the text messages released by his lawyer, who, by the way, I don't think has been impressive in this at all, because some of the information that was let out to the public, I have no idea why a lawyer would advise such a thing, but that's a different subject for another day. And we're allowed to deduce from an opinion perspective what we believe and what we don't, so long as we concede that we have no way of knowing definitively what the truth is. What I can speak about is the fact that this 3-time Super Bowl champion and this Hall of Famer, who emphatically stated to me over the phone how innocent he is of these allegations that have been levied against him, insisting repeatedly that anything you read, anything you see, anything you hear was fully and totally consensual. In the same breath, what's inescapable is that without us knowing all the merits, he was working with Disney, where I've worked since 2003, excluding my departure from 2009 to 2011, when I was gone for those 2 years. Outside of that, I've been at Disney since October of 2003. I know this place. I know the worldwide leader that is ESPN, who's under the umbrella of Disney. And it wasn't difficult for me to figure out what was transpiring. As I sit here before you today discussing this matter, ESPN and Disney have a wait and see attitude when it comes to whatever evidence they may learn about this entire situation involving Shannon Sharpe from a legal and from a civil perspective. What they didn't need, as it pertains to those two things that I just mentioned, they didn't need any definitive evidence at this particular moment in time about all of that stuff, once all the things Shannon Sharpe's lawyer put out there. It was uncomfortable to listen to, and it was not something that Walt Disney once associated with its brand. So to have him on the airwaves while all of that stuff was put out there was not something that Disney was going to take. That is what I mean when I say I am not surprised. In getting to know Shannon Sharpe, I know a lot of things that he has articulated that he has been through in his life. I can't imagine too many things in life tougher than what he's going through now. And there's a lot of people out there talking a lot of smack and a lot of stuff about him. You will never hear that from me. It will not happen. I don't give a damn if we speak a day from now, a month from now, a year from now, years from now. He's my friend. And it's always going to be that way. I'd say the same thing to you about anybody else that I know to be my friend. I don't have to work with you. I don't have to be around you. I don't have to be around you all the time, talking to you all the time, to have love for you and to wish you the best. And that's exactly what it's going to be for him. I sincerely hope that all of this goes away and we find there's a bunch of falsehoods to these allegations, and he's able to come back in this industry and do what he has been doing, which has been phenomenal.
So you heard what Stephen A. Smith had to say there. What are my thoughts? Look, I said earlier in this show that I don't think Stephen A. Smith needed to defend Shannon. Now, in him doing so, if that's what he decided that he needed to do, fantastic, right? The reason I said that is because Stephen A. Smith has already done a lot to help Shannon. Not because I'm saying it, because Shannon Sharpe said it. As you guys know, after that situation ended at FS1, Shannon Sharpe said no one was really reaching out to him, or rather Stephen A. Smith reached out to him, extended an olive branch, told him that he wanted to be a part of what he was doing. And Shannon was very, very grateful for that. I think their first show that they did was on Club Shay Shay. That show generated over 1 million views, and they argued basketball and all of that. And he talking about how he appreciated the olive branch that Stephen A. Smith extended. So to me, look, if a guy offers you an opportunity at a job to make some damn money, in this case millions, I think they've done a lot for you. Now, in the process of that, if you go on and make decisions on your own, and maybe some things happen to you, but nevertheless, things begin to happen to you that is outside the control of that individual that offered you that opportunity, I don't see how that individual owes you anything beyond that. Now, if that person then decides to go out there and go to bat for you and still defend you, then that's 100% within their right. But I don't think that person needed to do anything because they had done enough. Let's not get it twisted. Like, I don't understand a bigger way you can show your support than helping somebody get an opportunity to put food on their table and put food on the table of their families. What else do you want the guy to do? So I felt like at the time he had done enough. Now, to what Stephen A. Smith had to say, he went out there, he defended Shannon Sharpe. He's talked about how Shannon Sharpe has expressed to him that he didn't do any of these things, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But he also discussed this matter from a corporate standpoint, in this case, the standpoint of ESPN. And a lot of these companies have moral clauses, right? Where essentially you're out there to just, you just have to ensure that you're going to be a decent person. You're not going to be doing things that are going to reflect poorly on the image of the company that you're being employed by. And in this case, these type of stories and things that are being said don't reflect well on ESPN. He even gave examples, like when the text came out, he thought that those texts were damaging. We didn't play the audio where he spoke about the mishandling of the situation by Shannon Sharpe's lawyer by electing to publicize those texts. He also said that things could have probably gone differently had those texts not gone public. So that was just something that made things quite uncomfortable for people at ESPN. So therefore, Shannon Sharpe and maybe ESPN thought it was an amicable decision for both for Shannon to step away and all of that. Other people have given other angles on the situation, like Jason Whitlock. He said, no, look, they're playing a game here, right? Shannon doesn't want to Shannon wants ESPN to fire him without just cause, and ESPN wants to fire Shannon with just cause because there's some contractual agree. All of these different things, all of these different aspects to it, things of which I don't know, right? Because I've never had a contract of that magnitude or worked for any of these companies. With that being said, however, I am a bit surprised that Stephen A. Smith came out here and defended Shannon Sharpe. But hey, look, if that's what he wants to do, 100% power to him. It's not my job to say, hey, man, you shouldn't do that. No, that's what he feels like in his spirit that he needed to do. Fantastic. Now, my personal take on this, when I covered the story about 3 days ago, I was like, I don't see how Shannon Sharpe can continue being at ESPN, at least currently, as this new information comes out, because I felt like it was just more and more damaging information was going to surface. And since I made those comments, a few things have happened. Number one, a second audio was published. I saw that audio on, or heard it rather, on worldstarhiphop.com. Then a second accuser has come forward. Then another article came forward from Front Office Sports where they spoke about an alleged situation that took place at the FS1 while he was working there. Another case of some type of physical altercation with someone that worked there, a lady there. So a lot of things have happened just since that moment. And I said that this situation cannot continue on. And then he will still remain at ESPN. It just doesn't work. ESPN, which is owned by Disney, it just would not work. It cannot work. It will not work. And ultimately it didn't work. Right. So I thought people were living in fantasy land if they thought that it was going to still continue on. And from what I've been hearing, that there's a video that's going to come out. Now, Shannon Sharpe himself alluded to this in the public statement that he made. The video that he discussed this, he said there's about a video. There's going to be about 30 seconds is going to come out. I think it's some type of sex tape. He said you should release the full video. It's about a 10-minute video, not the one that's been edited. And apparently this video is a bit gruesome. Now, if I know this, people at ESPN know this, right? So there's no way that video is going to come out and Shannon Sharpe was still going to be at it. It just wasn't going to happen. It just wasn't going to happen. So irrespective of everything that Stephen A. Smith has said, this is now a legal matter. And Shannon Sharpe has made it clear that he's going to be fighting this tooth and nail, and he's going to fight it to the bitter end. But this thing could get worse. But nevertheless, Stephen A. Smith decided to do what he did. So the question to the audience is simply this. Number one, what do you think about what Stephen A. Smith had to say? Number two, what do you think about our analysis? And number three, where do you see this thing going in the coming weeks? Whatever you guys think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section. We'll catch you on the next show. Peace.